Hello, my name is Johnny Good. I'm a papier-mâché sculptor, and today I want to show you how I made this 30-inch tall baby Indian elephant. You can actually find the pattern that I used for this sculpture online at my website at ultimatepapermache.com. You can download it and follow along if you would like to. There's a grid on the pattern, and I used that grid to expand and transfer the pattern over to a large 4-foot by 4-foot sheet of particle board. Here you can see I've got the front and the back leg, only two of them so far, are drawn on there. As soon as I had cut out the front and back leg, I used those legs and the pattern itself. You can see it here on that I'm using it here in order to show me exactly where the legs are going to be attached when the body is cut out. So then I went ahead and finished cutting out the body with my electric saw, and I reinforced the legs using 1x4 scraps of lumber. It may be possible that if you use plywood instead of particle board that the reinforcing would not be necessary. I wanted to make sure that if somebody decided to jump on my elephant, since I do have a grandson, I didn't want him to simply crumple, so I reinforced him. It certainly doesn't hurt. I used carpenter's glue and some little clamps that I got over at Walmart to do that. It's easy enough to do. Then I glued and nailed some spacers onto the body itself. They're 2x4 chunks of scrap lumber, and as soon as the spacers were on there, I went ahead and glued and nailed the legs onto the body. So when all 4 legs were attached, you end up with a particle board armature that can stand up on its own, and it has the all of the shapes that you're going to be keeping for your completed elephant. You'll be filling out the muscles, the body, the bulk of your elephant, but you're going to be keeping that outline so that you know exactly, even before you start, you know exactly what your elephant is going to look like. So now that my armature is all nailed and glued together, I get to start the fun part of crumpling up newspaper and squishing it on really tight and taping it onto the armature using 2-inch wide masking tape. You just keep on adding more and more paper, filling out those muscles and that bulk of the elephant until basically you have an elephant. This takes a lot of paper, and you probably do not have this much newspaper laying around the house. I certainly didn't. So I went out to my local newspaper office, and for $3 they sold me a roll of just the roll end of newspaper that they couldn't use on their printing press, and it was definitely worth the $3. By the time all the paper was added to the elephant, it weighed about 30 pounds. So you can see that this is it's going to take a lot. The tail was made out of a piece of 3-strand electrical wire that was attached to the armature and then covered with paper and masking tape. And as you go back here just a minute, you can see that I've got some wrinkles around her britches that elephants seem to have. I don't know why. Just got really big underwear on, I guess. I don't know. And this is the final step before the paper mache goes on. We've got her cheeks on there. They're not completely filled out yet. We've got an area for the eye, but it's not quite done. But basically we've got a really firm, solid substrate for our paper mache to go on. We're going to fill in the details later. So now go ahead and make up your paper mache paste. Just flour and water, mix it up to about the consistency of heavy cream. Wet one side of your paper, pull it against the bowl so that you can get the excess off, and then just plaster it on your elephant. You're going to need 6 or 7 layers, and make sure that your layers are dry before you add the next one. That way you make sure that everything is dry and there's no mold going on the inside. Now, in order to reinforce the trunk, I bought some expanded aluminum product that I bought at the hardware store. It's made to keep leaves out of gutters, but it worked really well for this. And as you see, I very firmly molded around the trunk and then held it on temporarily with twine and then just covered it with the paper mache. And you keep on adding paper mache. You can see here I've got everything all covered. She's drying and waiting for the next layer, and you just keep on doing that till you have a nice hard surface. Now once it's hard enough, you can use a product that I use a lot in my sculptures. It's a mixture of joint compound and cellulose insulation. You buy both of those products at the hardware store and they do not cost much. The containers that you get will probably be enough for a whole school worth of projects, but I use them a lot, so I'm very happy to have them. And that's the product that I use to do the details, because it's so much easier to do the eyes and they're around the mouth and her cheeks than it is just using the paper mache itself. Now I've cut a piece of that expanded aluminum in the shape of an Indian elephant's ears, and I covered both sides with paper. Once that was dry, I attached them, and I went ahead and covered up all of the joint compound product with a final layer of paper mache. And when that's all dry, it's time to add the skin, which is made from a layer of paper mache, but the paper itself we're going to be using this time is single ply paper towels. It's got nice little bumps, and you can make wrinkles, which elephants have lots of wrinkles, so it worked really well. When that was dry, it was now time to mix up some gray paint. I used white wall paint and a little bit of acrylic black and a little bit of acrylic brown. Made a nice warm gray, completely covered her. When that was dry, I gave her a finish of acrylic matte varnish and then a final wash that has the acrylic matte varnish, water, and just a teensy bit of reddish brown, so that if we can bring out all those nice little bumps and wrinkles that we spent so much time getting on there. Now you can see we've got an elephant. She's inside right at the moment. So the colors are odd when I took this photograph, but you can see here a close-up of her eye. Elephants have unusual eyes, so you want to go out onto the internet and find a model before you paint them. And ta-da, she's done. 30 inches high. She will not stay outside in the weather if you use acrylic matte varnish like I did. If you want an outside elephant, you would want to use marine varnish, which will be weatherproof and should be able to stay out in the rain. So there you have it. I sincerely hope that you've enjoyed this little video. Be sure, if you have not yet done so, please come and visit me at ultimatepapermache.com, because we've got a lot of tutorials out there. Almost all of them, well, all of them are a lot smaller than our elephants, so your house will actually have room for them, and they're probably most of my tutorials are actually a little bit less extravagant than this, but you can certainly come out, grab a copy of the elephant pattern if you like to off of my website, or use any of the other tutorials we've got out there. We're more than happy to have you come. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.